Priyanshu, a huge welcome to you on Filmy Show Me and congratulations on Barun Rai and the House on the Cliff. It,
Thank you, Anuj. Thank you. Yeah,
it
thanks a
is
lot,
your
man.
it is your first British crossover film, and I think in the horror sort of genre, which is something which we've not seen before, and I think it's wonderful to see a Bengali touch to sort of the British horror genre, even though you've not actually explored horror genre that much in your career. So, how much of a close to home yet new experience was it for you to do this film?
Well, there's no Bengali in it, but yes, it was far from close to home because I've never been in a horror movie ever before, so I had no clue about the workings of the VFX and on-set VFX team, which was new to me. Then again, shooting in UK was something totally new, and the weather, because I live in Bombay, we don't have winters, and so yeah, that got a bit brutally cold for me, but we plowed on, and we got the film done. So yeah, very very grateful for the
Mhm.
for that to happen.
Right. I think also when it comes to horror, it's a very, very difficult genre. I think perhaps the hardest genre, dare I say, of cinema, because, it requires a sense of maturity as an actor and it requires a sense of subtlety as well. So for you to foray onto this style of cinema, what were some of your most immediate and instant reference points to sort of rely on throughout your experience of the film?
Me per se, I'm not a big horror movie fan myself, but then again, having seen films like The Shining and Stanley Kubrick Shining, which chills me to the bone even today when I watch it. And to embark on this adventure of with Sam Bhattacharjee to make a horror movie was very challenging and exciting at the same time, because to work in a make believe world of ghosts, ghouls, monsters, and spirits was totally new. And to work in a set which has a live VFX team, which gives you the blue screens, which has the other actors in blue, or sometimes not. Sometimes it's just you imagining it as the character, and so all that was very new that I've never done before. So I hope that came across well in the movie.
That's wonderful. It seems to be you are investigating in the film as well. So if you could just sort of talk me through that experience.
Well, Anuj, I have never seen a Bengali film in which there was a paranormal parapsychologist detective
Mm. Right.
who is dealing with the realm of spirits and can see spirits, interact with them, and unearth mysteries of that kind.
Mhm.
But yes, in Western movies and the movie culture, so to say, there's been a Constantine, there's been witch hunters and all those. So I think Sam took his inspiration, if I can call it that, to to delve into this using Barun Rai as this detective who does that, and he's a clairvoyant of sorts who can see spirits. And there's this uh, place set in the UK where there's been a series of unexplained deaths,
Cool.
and so the police call upon Barun Rai to investigate all those deaths, and that's when he comes in contact with the paranormal forces that are making those happen.
Hmm. Did you ever encounter anything paranormal whilst you were shooting for the film?
Well, I get scared very easy. So, walking about in the forest, in the Waltham forest, I think that's what it's called, Waltham.
Hmm.
And in the night, in the cold, in the dark, and the fog was very, very scary for me. Yeah. I mean, you had to just snap a twig and I would freak out.
Well, I scare myself sometimes, so I can totally relate with that aspect as well, Priyanshu. So don't worry about that. But that's really wonderful to sort of hear. I think a crossover film. I think it's quite different to see you sort of make this journey? I mean, I've watched your films. I mean, I love, of course, Tumbin is one of my favorite movies of yours, but I think perhaps if there is a film which is very close to me, it's Pinjar, and I loved your
Oh,
performance
yeah.
in that. So I just wanted to kind of firstly acknowledge that as well. So I guess doing a crossover film, was it ever on your mind? Did you ever imagine yourself to ever sort of do a film of this nature?
No, never really. Till I got on a video call with Sam one winter, and he said, there's this script, I'm sending it to you, and please give it a read. And it just happened. It's just providence and just luck, and that I got there, and Sam, being a VFX guy himself, he knew
Mhm.
uh, the nitty gritty of the VFX world and how to create it. So this rest of the journey was fairly simple, and so I had a great time, man, and really loved shooting in UK. Loved the locations. It's so picturesque and beautiful to just stand, and I can just reminiscing about all of that is bringing me such fond memories.
Yes, I can imagine. Now, I had read up that apparently you had finished shooting before the pandemic. But obviously
Yes, just
because
about.
COVID-19 happened and it's kind of slowed down a lot of things, including the film's release. So at that point, what were some of the thoughts going through your mind? I mean, how taken aback were you with the delay that had happened because of the sort of global catastrophe that we're fighting?
I was expecting it, with everything, and not just this film, but many other films. Three films that we just finished shooting, we just finished dubbing. On one, we had not finished dubbing, so they all got stalled for that much time. And not just me. I think there's a whole lot of people who will, agree with me when I say that it was a hit that we took, and we just prayed that the films that got stalled get their due release, so that I mean, there's a lot of money involved, and of course, people's
Yeah.
work and career. So we were just hoping and praying that that we get a release, and Sam got really lucky. We all got lucky that we got a Halloween release. So really, really
Yeah.
grateful to God, Bhagwanji, thank you.
Bhagwan is very kind and he helps us in the times when we don't even realize. And it's wonderful. And I'm really glad that the film has released as well. Especially, Derai Durust hai, as the Hindi saying goes.
Ekdam,
So yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Priyanshu, it fascinates me actually because I think when an actor sets out, there's often, and every time I've had conversations with artists, there's often that whole idea of big stars in their eyes and dreams, big dreams that they want to accomplish. When you began your career, what was your mindset then? And how successful do you think you've been thus far in terms of accomplishing whatever those thoughts were and whatever your ambitions were initially?
Well, the initial ambition was to find a foothold, find some sort of a space as an actor,
Mm,
and where your work is appreciated, and your work begets your work. And I was uh, really very fortunate that I started out with a TV series, had to do just a few episodes on that, and then a couple of music videos, and some theater in between, and then I got my first movie. So uh, in about 6 to 7 years of time that happened, and I was really lucky that it happened in that much time frame. It takes people a lot longer sometimes a lot lesser.
mm,
But me, from a non-film background, having nobody in Bombay, coming from Delhi, it was. I think it's amazing that I got my foothold as an actor, and got offered a variety of different material to work on. Like you yourself said, Pinjar. I'm very grateful to have been a part of that film, and many others. Bhutnath,
mm.
uh, you know,
Dil Ka
Coolie,
Rishta as well. Yeah.
even the Bengali films like Moner Manush and Itim Nidalini and Shunnonko, and so God's been very, very kind, and I've been very lucky.
That's wonderful. In fact, another memory I wanted to share with you, and I just recently had listened to this song again, was from your film "Aapko Pehle Bhi Kahin Dekha Hai."
Yeah.
There's that song "Ishq To Jadoo Hai." I've been bopping to that song. I only recently had discovered it again, and I was like, "Oh my God, I remember listening to this on the cassette." So it was just a little memory that I wanted to sort of share with you. So it's quite nice to, I guess, see you come this far and sort of make this sort of foray into the British cinema space as well. But I think Priyanshu, it's not been easy for you. That's definitely something which I think we can both sort of acknowledge here is that it's been a tough journey. It's not been
Oh
easy.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. There have been many periods of lull and no work, and just bad films, bad choices, because you have to keep the kitchen going. So yeah, absolutely, all of that, and I think that sort of fortifies your resolve of why you're here and what you're doing. So you think of, yeah, why did I get here in the first place? It's my passion for acting, for movies and everything. So you keep going, you keep plowing on, and you say, man, it's okay. Keep doing the work, and one never knows what the bigger plan is. So we just keep doing whatever the Almighty tells you to do. If it's a bad film, it's a bad film. If it's a good film, it's a good film. So you take it in your stride and keep walking, man. I always say, wait, but walk while you wait.
It's very true, and it's wonderful to see how positive and so uh so thankful you are to hear about all of this. But I think Priyanshu, when we do sort of speak about the rough patches in particular, uh I mean, it's difficult to, I guess, point why, but do you think it was due to the fact that a certain set of image of a hero or an actor that they had in Bollywood, or was it a lack of opportunities coming your way? Where do you think it was kind of like the reason and the pinning point for that sort of dark?
Anuj, a lot has happened in the last. I came, I think, '96. A lot happened from the year 2004 onwards. So in the last 20 years, we've seen a sea change in terms of television and movies and the whole OTT platforms, Netflix, Amazon, everything. So there's been a incredible shift in terms of consumption of the material that we churn out. And there's a lot more actors who are non-film background actors who come from, let's say, your film schools, and who are trained, who are not trained. So there's a whole wide world of people now working in Bombay who are necessarily not star kids. They're not from film families. So a lot of that has changed. The way people consume content has changed. So in during those 20 years, when those shifts were happening, I stayed stuck to my beliefs of working on a shooting draft of a script.
Okay.
I would never work on something if somebody popped an idea and said, okay, let's start shooting this tomorrow. I would never do that. So in that sense, one let go of some opportunities, saying that, okay, I don't know that. So I will stick to what I know best, which is working with the director who has a script.
Okay.
So when you function that way, you obviously limit your choices. Now, although I would say that because of Netflix, Amazon, so many. I mean, there's countless of them now. That one has changed, and so have I. I did a web series recently, and now I'm shooting for a movie. So, it's just being with the times, I think, and not staying stuck. It's staying unstuck and saying, okay, we'll flow with whatever's coming, whatever's happening, bring it on. So I think, yeah.
No, what you said there is so true. In fact, I remember when I spoke with Ramesh Sippy sir a few years back, and that's exactly what he said as well. If you don't move with the changing times, and you stay irrelevant, and I definitely agree with what he said and what you've emphasized here too. So do you think, because of the fact that the landscape of cinema has changed, do you feel this need as an actor to also reinvent yourself as well, with the sort of works you do and with the sort of style of roles you pursue?
Yeah, funnily, I always did that. I mean, my first film after a romantic, protagonist sort of an image of Tumbin, my first choice of script after that movie was Pinjar,
Mm.
in which there was no romance. It was all about the partition of India, and it was a very serious subject. So I've always been reinventing myself. When I do a Pinjar, it's a different thing. When I do a Bhutnath, it's a different persona, different characterization. When I do a Barun Rai now, it's a different character, absolutely. So, and the Bengali films, which, not everybody has seen, but, I played in the 1800s, early 1900s. So one has always been reinventing. And I think those things now, are like, the weapons in my armory. So,
Right.
so really looking forward to using them more.
Uh-huh. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, obviously, Barun Rai, it I think is the first time we're seeing well, not a first time, but I mean, it's a crossover of a very different sort, because it has this very fresh appeal. It's very mysterious with like you said, the picturesque landscapes and all of that. And now that it has hit the theaters, it has hit the cinemas. What would you like audiences to sort of bear in mind, I think, from the film and sort of acknowledge as well from the movie?
Well, firstly, it's a for a Halloween time sort of a film, and it has a very interesting uh, take. And the take is, uh, the mix of this Indian family living there, and then that Indian family is, how they've been cast in the movie. They are Gujaratis, I think,
Oh,
and
wow. Great.
yeah,
I'm Gujarati
and
myself, so that makes me really
oh
happy
wow,
to know.
hello, Imshu, Maja Macho.
Right.
So it's interesting that so there's this Bengali, but he's not a Bengali. I mean, he's lived there. He speaks, you know, English and everything. But so it's this Bengali guy coming in. So there's an Indian take to it, but at the same time, then there's the priest. There's the whole milieu of people who live in that town where these series of deaths are happening, are all British. So it's a very interesting mix for me to see on screen, which I haven't seen other than let's say Om Puri Sahib in East meets West.
East is east,
Uh,
yeah.
East,
Hmm.
sorry, East, and those have been very far and few in between. So this is an interesting movie in that sense for me to see these cultures sort of interacting with each other, which we don't get to see in India. And I don't know about the UK how much of that you get to see on movies, but so that's one element. The other element I feel is that the is just the gorgeous locations.
Hmm.
It looks great. I haven't seen the final film yet myself, but I'm going to soon. So I hope it's a good looking, spooky enough package of a film that people enjoy.
Sure, wonderful. And I think from this film onwards, would you like to sort of pursue more roles that's on the Western, as in the West, like how you've got a British film here? Would you like to do more films that's from the West as well, to sort of make sure we change the dialogue for the better, more progressive dialogue of Indian representations in the West?
Yeah, man, I really hope so. I hope that happens. And but as about my participation, and who knows? I mean, it's if like I've always been follower of work begetting work. So if work is appreciated and I get more work, yeah, definitely, why not? It's not something that there's no such plan. I mean, I'm being very honest with you. So
Mhm.
if it does happen, like Sam has a plan, and he the way he plans Barun Rai, he's planning sequel. He started with this whole trilogy idea of Barun Rai, first House on the Cliff, and then two other. So if that happens, definitely yes. And if something else does, then yeah, why not, man? I'm game.
All right. Well, Priyanshu, I think on that note, I think it's quite momentous to sort of see you return to the big screens and set to spook us again through Barun Rai. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the film, which is now obviously out in the cinemas in the UK. And wishing you all the very best. I cannot wait to see more amazing work from you. And I hope that we continue to see you, Priyanshu, because it's really a pleasure to watch you on screen each time. So hopefully get to see
That's
more of you.
very, very sweet and kind of you, Anush. Thank you so much. And have a very happy, like a great Halloween. Merry Christmas and New Year's. So
Yeah,
that
and of
was.
course, happy Diwali before then, actually.
Oh yes, yes, of course. Happy Diwali.
जी, बिल्कुल. Wonderful. Well, take care, Priyanshu, and wishing you all the very best.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.